And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to episode 4 of Shooting the Shit with Jim. My very, very special guest today is Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. Hello, Corey. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to jump on here, hang out with you, and yeah, shoot it around with you. We'll get into some topics. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've really been looking forward to this as well, my friend.
yeah.
I watch your live streams all the time, your lunch break specials and such.
Oh,
And,
thank you. I appreciate that.
you got a great community going over on your channel and such.
Yeah.
And speaking of, why don't we give you a little chance here to plug your channel? Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your channel.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, again, thank you very much for having me on. I truly do appreciate it. We were joking before we came live, or it doesn't. You don't have to twist my arm too hard to, come out and hang out with, a friend and talk about movies, music, or wherever else the things go. So I truly appreciate it.
No problem.
But yeah, just on YouTube and Instagram, Wilkie's Movies and Music. My channel, I'm still working at it. I'm still really new. I'm a small channel, and lately been doing a lot of live streams, trying to get into pre-recorded stuff a little bit more. But yeah, I've been having fun meeting people that are also putting some things out on YouTube or Instagram on different topics. Some even I've ventured off of the music and movies type of conversation. Just I come across a channel, I'm like, oh, they seem interesting. It'd be fun to hang out and just talk for a little bit. So doing a lot of that, a lot of live streaming, but I have a lot of fun with it. I like seeing all the interaction that people jump in with the chat with. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How long have you been doing this?
Just over a year. So I think, oh gosh, I have to look at it. I think this past November was a year for me. So going on a year and a half. I'm still
Yeah.
pretty new, but I was hanging out in people's live stream chats quite a
Mhm.
bit before I did that, and always had, and we were talking about that. I still have fun doing that as well, but that's what kind of gave me the itch to want to do it myself and
Mhm.
be able to be like sitting here right now with you and
Right.
being able to talk one on one, and then also with people in the chat. So
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I've been doing it a little over a year myself. So,
yeah,
and just like you, I had no delusions originally, of anything. I was just following other people's channels, and
yeah.
one day, one guy, Eddie, movie collector 623, he was the
Oh
one that
yeah,
told me.
good
he
guy.
was
Yeah,
he was the one that encouraged me to originally post a video, and that's how
yeah,
it started.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
awesome. All right, let's check out some of the people here in the chat and say hello real quick before I get into some of my grilling questions for you.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. We've got Mike from Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collection. Hello, Mike. Thank you so much for being here. We've got Greg Brewer. Greg, thank you so much for being here. Hope all is well. It is on this end. Hope it's well with you as well, my friend. We've got one of your favorites from your channel,
Oh
Holland
yeah,
Oates. Hello,
Holland.
Holland. How are you? Grill them. Oh, don't worry.
Grill
We're going
him.
to get to that.
Yep, Holland
Got
will
my
let you.
buddy Texas from
Hey,
the
Tex.
CWO here. Texas is going to be having a live stream tonight, as a matter of fact, on his channel.
Oh,
So
nice.
I will be there for that to leave little comments in the chat for that as well. We've got people saying hello to each other. We've got Mr. Dan in horror, of course. Hey, how's it going, Dan? Loved your video today. The franchising or whatever you call it. That was great. Let's see here. And we've got Chester. Hey, Chester, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, Jester.
He is here in the house. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we've got about 7 or 8 people here live right now.
Nice.
Great. All right, so we've already discussed how you started and such.
Yeah.
And your channel, of course, is movies and music. So let's talk some movies here.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite genres?
So growing up, as a kid, sci-fi was one that I dove in all the time. It was one of those things that I remember getting a super cheap, it was nothing crazy, but like telescope, was always interested in looking up at the stars. So any sci-fi movies, I that's my first love, and I still enjoy them quite a bit. So I was just talking about this the other night, but like some earlier ones that I remember having a poster on my wall forever of RoboCop, like stuff like that. I just dug. Or you got into Terminator, or like any
Yeah.
of those. Always had so much fun with it. My dad watched a lot of westerns. A lot
Mhm.
of it was like older movies or TV shows, and so I still have a love for those. So I'll still like to dip back into Westerns every once in a while. But more and more now it's just trying to like branch out and checking out some other things. And it's been fun catching different genres, but man, it's hard to beat some sci-fi and action movies from like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Now, are there any genres that you generally don't like? I mean, not, I know that's painting things with a broad brush, okay?
Yeah.
Because there's always exceptions, but is there any type of movie that you're just like, nah, it's not my thing?
I do like horror movies. I'd say I was not a huge fan of them growing up, but I definitely saw some of the big classics on VHS. You know, like your Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Friday the 13th franchises, and enjoyed those, but didn't dive into it a lot until I got a little bit older. But I will say the extreme horror, like extreme, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of an example, but there's a limit. I don't mind gore. I don't mind violence, but there's some that definitely up the ante.
Yeah, you're not going to be watching Martyrs anytime soon.
Probably not. That's one that's been thrown out to me. There's a few of them that are people are like, yeah, Corey, maybe look at that before you go watch that. And so that would be one that I've not seen it before, but that would be one I'm questionable about going to see.
I'd be willing to place a bet right now that would not be your thing. It wasn't my thing, and I love gore. I mean, that's my first love, and that movie turned me off.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So those are probably that type of movie is probably pushing the bounds, but I love the Friday the 13th franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. You know, like I'm not like completely against gore, but yeah, you know, there's some that take it up another level.
Right. Did you watch Substance?
I have not yet.
Okay.
I have not seen that yet.
Yeah, I was just curious what you thought about that, because that's one of those movies that kind of walks the line.
Okay.
You know? I mean, it's very graphic, it's very over the top, but there's like a very dark undertone of humor that runs throughout that movie.
Okay.
And that's what makes it a little more digestible.
Okay.
To a lot of people, I would say, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I get it. You know, there's horror in particular is one of those genres that, you know, people, they can like it, okay, but most people it's either a love or hate type thing, you know.
Right.
So, all right, very good. How about this? What's your earliest theatrical moment of seeing a movie at a theater?
The earliest movie I remember seeing in the theater, it's been a long time ago now. It came up in a conversation, but the first one I really remember going out with my family. I was a pretty young kid at the time, but it was Popeye. Robin Williams and, and Duvall, or is it Shelley Duvall? And,
yes.
Yes, that's probably one of the earliest ones I can remember. I always have some good memories actually after that too, with like E.T. and like some of those. The first Star Wars I saw in the theater or was able to see in the theater was Return of the Jedi. So, you know, like some of those, I have some great memories, but I don't know why, but the Popeye one sticks out in my mind as like one of the earliest ones I remember going into a movie theater and being excited about that and getting a thing of popcorn and sitting down with my folks.
Yeah, I saw that one with my parents.
Yeah.
That came out in 1980, end of 1980. So I was 13 at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great movie. Robin Williams was perfect in that part. He really was.
Yep.
Greg says he hears you about the graphic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Some stuff is way out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing against it. People can do it, but I just might not. But yeah, Robin Williams was great with that. But Shelley Duvall, I think, was great. Olive oil too. They both were great casting for those roles.
Yeah. But. Okay, now, do you have a favorite theatrical moment? Something that you saw at the theater that just changed your mind about movies? Something that you were like, just left you in awe, that you were like, wow, this is what movies can be.
Oh man, that's a tough one. There's so many memorable moments. Like sometimes it was more just who I was with or the event that was going on, not necessarily the movie, but thinking of like the actual movie. I know this is a lot later. There was ones that really hit hard and really got me to be a fan before this, but I really enjoyed The Matrix when that came out. and I know this much later. I loved movies before that, and I can
Yeah,
think
no,
of
no,
a
no,
bunch
no.
of before that. But that was a time before streaming, and we always had the first run theaters where the brand new ones came
Mm-hmm.
in, the nicer theaters, the more expensive ones, and
Yep.
then we had the second run theaters, we would
Yep.
call them, where then after those left and the new ones came in, they'd go there and you could go for like $1 or $1.50 or
Yep.
like dirt cheap. So instead of streaming, we didn't have that available. I'd go like for $1 or $1.50. I'd be like, oh, I go see that again. And they had the Matrix between those two types of theaters running forever. And that's probably the one I've seen the most times in a theater ever
Yeah.
was the Matrix, just because it was so cheap after that. So there'd be some times where I needed to kill some time, and I saw the Matrix was playing in the mall, and I needed to meet up with some people later, but I had a little bit of time to kill. So even if I didn't see the entire thing, I'd go pay $1 or $2,
Right.
whatever, and go sit in and watch it for a little bit longer again before. And that was before I had was able to buy it, to have it at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was probably actually one of the first DVDs I ever bought too, was The Matrix.
Nice.
I think The Matrix and Saving Private Ryan, I think, were like two of my first DVDs that I ever purchased.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, The Matrix. I saw that opening day, or actually the day before opening day. They did like a preview,
Oh yeah,
and if you remember, nobody knew what the hell that movie was about.
I know. Yeah,
It was. I mean, they had that great little advertising campaign. Then they had that little tiny teaser on the Super Bowl spot
yeah,
where you see Morpheus jump to the next building and
Yeah.
he goes, "Whoa," and that was
Yeah.
literally it. But
that was enough to
I
hook
went
me.
and saw it because I had time to kill that day.
Yeah.
And didn't know anything about it other than who was in it.
Yeah.
And like you, that movie just blew my mind in so many ways.
Oh yeah.
I literally walked out, bought a ticket, and walked right back in and watched it again. And
Yeah.
I've only done that a couple of times in my whole life.
Yeah, it definitely is one that would. It's kind of. I don't think I ever watched it back to back, but I think there was probably a weekend where I went and saw it on a Friday night, and then went back Saturday night with some other buddies,
Yeah.
to watch it again. So that's probably the first movie I ever did that with, where one weekend seeing it multiple times, and like I said, I ended up seeing that. Oh, it had to be getting close to double digits
Yeah.
in the theater, but like I said, like quite a few of those were $1 or $2
Oh, yeah.
to watch it. So
Yeah, I used to. I mean, the statute of limitations is over now. I used to go into like the multiplexes at 10 o'clock in the morning, buy a ticket for the matinee, and then sneak into different theaters and walk out by 8 o'clock at night.
there you go. That's what's funny. Yeah, I'm in a very small market, and so I always think it's funny. Like, so I'm trying to go to the theater a little bit more this year,
Mhm.
but there's Tuesday nights are cheaper, and then they have these mystery movie nights once in a
Yeah.
while where you get it quite a bit cheaper than like half or less of what the regular ticket is. And so I'm trying to hit some of those to be smarter, like to
Mhm.
spend the money and get in there a little bit more. But like some of those times are off times to drive more traffic, and I walk in there and not one person says one word or looks at you walking in, and I'm like, I kind of wonder. I would just look around. I'm like, does everybody actually have a ticket that they purchased? when I walked in here. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just kind of funny. Like, I just walk in and not one person looks at you. And
Yeah.
there's busier times they have a ticket person sitting there, but man, it's pretty bare when some of those are going on.
Yeah, once you get past the line of defense, man, it's you can do more or less anything you want.
Yep.
Okay, let's check a couple more people here in the comments because it looks like we have some more people here.
Very good.
Texas saw Popeye with Clash of the Titans in $1. Nice.
Oh, nice. Very good.
Words and Pictures is here. Hello, thank you very much for being here.
Hey, nice to you.
Let's see here. I know I missed somebody. Let me double check here real quick. Sorry, guys. I know this is a really thrilling thing to watch. Dan says, love the discount theaters. Absolutely.
It was awesome. And
Yeah.
that's the sad thing is when things started, streaming started picking up, and I really enjoy that. And I still use streaming a lot. It's a good way to, I try to be smart with how much money I spend. I love having the physical movies in here, but I can't buy everything. You got to be kind of smart with your money. And sometimes it's nice to have the streaming things to check some things out and to figure out if that's really what you want. But man, we used to have so many theaters around us, and
Yeah.
a bunch of them were these discount theaters. And I didn't care if the movie was 3 or 4 months old. I mean, you could go in and watch it for, even when they started raising prices in those, it still was under like $5 or something to go see it. And Yeah, a lot of those just closed up, and now I only have a couple choices around me, and there's no discount theaters like that.
Right.
I don't think. But,
Yeah, I've told the story on my channel before. When I was a kid in 1981, there was a discount theater in Genoa City, Wisconsin, that had a hole in the roof. So rain would come into this theater, okay?
you could look
And
up and see the stars.
I saw a double feature matinee of An American Werewolf in London and Halloween 2 for 75 cents.
Oh my gosh. If you could like time travel, that'd be so much fun to go back and
Yeah.
experience those things.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I
What
mean,
a double feature too.
yeah, exactly.
For 75 cents.
75 cents. I mean, good times.
Oh my
you know?
gosh. You can't buy a can of pop for that anymore.
No, you can't buy anything for 75 cents. You know? Not even a cup of coffee these
Oh
days.
my man. That's awesome. But I
I'm
was
sorry.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Go ahead.
Just real quick with those prices, I always remember the local. I'm rural community, lived on a farm, but there
Mhm.
was a small town that had just a 2-screen theater. We had a drive-in too. That was really awesome. But 2-screen theater you go into, and for the longest time, probably up through almost junior high for me, it was 99 cents a movie. And I always laugh because you'd go in there and the person sitting at the ticket counter, you give them $1 and they'd have this big pile of pennies.
Yep.
They'd give you your penny as you went through. But
Yep.
anyway, sorry, I was just maybe
No,
think
not
of
at
that,
all.
But
No, the theater that I worked at for years is, you know, in the 80s, technically was a second run theater because the theater I worked in was a chain, but it was a family owned chain. And they had their flagship theater that had like 5 or 6 screens that had all the brand new stuff.
okay.
And then when they moved those movies out, that's when they moved into our theater, which had 2 screens.
yeah.
And occasionally we would get a new movie. We always got horror movies. I
Yeah.
mean, Fridays, when a horror movie, every Friday the 13th movie that came out in the 80s, we got first.
You were
Opening
like,
day,
there.
you know?
That's awesome.
And those screenings sold out every time.
Yeah.
That opening weekend, it didn't matter. And some of those Friday the 13th movies are pretty bad, you know, but
They're still fun. They're still fun.
oh yeah. I'll never forget people flipping out at the end of part 5.
Oh, yeah.
What ends up being Roy,
Mm-hmm,
you know, the Scooby-Doo ending.
yeah. Yep.
And I mean,
yep.
people were literally like, "This is bullshit."
It's got like popcorn buckets being thrown at the
and it's
screen.
like, you're watching Friday the 13th for God's sake, you know?
Oh, I could see that. No, I never. You know, honest, I enjoy them. All the Friday the 13th experiences for me have been at home. I never saw one in the theater. So
Oh,
it was a
that's-
lot of VHS tapes, or over at my cousin's, they had cable and a lot of late night HBO.
The first one I
viewings of-
saw theatrically was part 3 in 3D.
Oh, nice.
And
Nice.
that was amazing. Now, I hate that movie, okay? But in 3D theatrically,
It gotta be
was
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was.
Yeah, they definitely did a lot of the like poke or
Yeah.
jab at the
Juggling the
screen.
ball,
Yep, the juggling
popcorn,
scene.
yeah.
Yep.
And even that didn't bother me as much as just there is not a single character in that movie that I didn't want to see get slaughtered. Every one of them are just so damn annoying.
They all need to die.
Yeah,
So-
every one of them. Every one of them.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, let's check real quick.
Sorry,
here.
I'm good at getting sidetracked. Sorry.
Sarah's here. Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Sarah.
We've got Barry is here. Hey, Barry, all the way from the UK.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
lads. Sorry, I'm late, Jim. I was just watching Barbie. Yeah.
Is that ours?
He's
Is
been
that
giving
ours?
me crap all week because a subscriber of mine worked on the movie Barbie,
Oh, okay.
and I mentioned it that I had seen it and that it was better than I thought it would be because I'm not a Barbie guy. I'm a middle-aged straight man. And of course, my good friend Barry here has been giving me crap ever since. Oh, Barry, Barbie. So it's still better than most Seagal movies, Barry.
Well, I was just gonna say, I thought I saw his little badge there. I think it's Arsenal, and I was like, I think they have a match going on. So I didn't know if he was sharing some time from the match with us or not. So
Barry's a good guy, man. He's one of my most loyal subscribers. I
that's
love
awesome.
that
Love it.
guy. Stacy is here. Hello, Stacy. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Stacy.
Will the two of you be meeting in person and going to the cinema together? Well, maybe somewhere down the road. We actually don't live that far apart, I don't think, because you're in Iowa, correct?
Right? Yep.
Yeah, and I'm in Wisconsin, just over the Illinois border.
Yeah. So probably not super crazy. So yeah, I'd say never say never.
Yeah.
I have. It hasn't been often, but there's a few people I've had the chance to meet that I originally met on YouTube, and then met them in person and went and go see a movie. So yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't. It's
Something-
in the cards. It's
Yeah,
in the
could
cards.
be.
It just, you never know with
Absolutely.
schedules and drive-in and all that fun stuff. But
Yeah. Speaking of drive-ins, I'm glad you mentioned the drive-in. Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Because most people that I talk to on my channel, unfortunately, have never had the drive-in experience,
Oh, I grew up.
especially overseas.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you obviously have been to the drive-in before.
Oh, many times when as a kid.
So-
Yep.
Do you have any favorite drive-in memories? You know, of some of the movies you saw there, or anything that happened to you. You know, keep it R-rated.
Well, I'll say we did that a lot. Like I said, very rural area where I grew up. So I was out on a farm, but then we had some cousins, my mom's sister, my aunt. They lived in a smaller town, the same one that had the 2-screen theater, the 99-cent one I was talking about, but they had a drive-in theater. And so there was a few aunts and uncles and cousins. We had a bunch of cousins that were right around my same age. I mean, give or take 6 years, and it was fun. We'd get together a lot. And that drive-in always did you paid per vehicle. It didn't matter how many people were in the vehicle. You paid per vehicle to go into the drive-in movie. And so we would all meet up at one of their homes. And usually, this is probably before people got too excited about safety and everything, but usually would get like a couple trucks because we a lot of farmers. So we had trucks. A lot of the adults were in the front of the trucks. A lot of kids were in the bed of the truck with lawn chairs and a couple picnic baskets. And they didn't care. You bring in whatever, you could come in. And we would go and set up lawn chairs or blankets and have some picnics. And they would always do triple features.
Oh,
at this
nice.
one. But it would usually like go up in rating as the night went on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you had like a G or PG and then a PG or PG-13 and then you're rated R. And there was like so many nights that a couple of us cousins got the idea of pretending to be asleep. So the parents would want to stay and watch the rated R. And then we're like opening the eyes. We're like, are they looking still? So we could watch the later movie as well. So just some of those memories. It was a lot of great, it was, I don't know. I miss that. It was like a community thing. People would get together and say hi. They'd walk, if they go to the little concession stand to get some popcorn or something, you'd walk by, you'd recognize somebody you knew and say hi and talk for a little bit. And it was fun. That was a lot of weekends we did that and got together with our family. So,
yep, me too. And then I, of course, worked at a drive-in that one summer, that glorious summer, but
saw lots of movies. Well, that's where I was almost, I was talking to, so the theater we have now that they redid that I like going to that has like the nicer reclining leather or fake leather, whatever, but the reclining chairs, I like them because you don't have somebody's head blocking your view and things, and you can stretch your legs out, but they have like a full bar in there. So a couple times I was in between movies and I was sitting at the bar and talking to the person that was working there. And she was saying that how they get free movie passes for working there. And I'm like, maybe I'll have to get a part-time job or something, make a little money and then get some free passes to get into a movie. But I knew a lot of friends growing up that lived in that small town that worked at the theater or the drive-in, and they got to see every single movie they wanted to, know? And,
yeah, that was the one great thing about working at that theater
the perk
for all those years. Because I started there in '83. I worked there as an usher until '88. Okay. I didn't get a single raise the entire time. It was $3.35 an hour back then, minimum wage. But I got every movie
I was gonna say, get every
I
movie
wanted to see, and for my family, and all the free popcorn and all that shit, as well. But I literally saw everything for a decade theatrically.
And that's a heck of a decade. That's a heck of a decade to be all the movies that would have been through there at that time too. There would have been so many great ones that you could have hit. So
and then 20 years later, I worked at another theater for a couple of years in the early 2000s, and same thing. Everything that came out in that stretch, I got to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as a movie guy, the only job I could possibly think of that would be better is like working at a concert arena. And seeing concerts for free, because one of my buddies actually did that. He ended up working for a light rigging crew and got passes to all the sporting events, all the music events, everything.
I knew a lot of people that would do that for sports. They would hardly get paid anything, but they'd be walking around with the the beer cart or the popcorn or the peanuts or whatever, but they could look back and catch part of the game, and
Yeah.
same with the movies or concerts. That would be pretty crazy to be able to do that and save some money.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to play a little game that I like to call overrated, underrated.
Okay. All right.
So, think of a movie that generally, by and large, everybody loves, that you don't necessarily hate, but you just think is overrated as hell.
Okay. So this is where you're talking about being worried about people coming out.
Possibly. We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, so there's going to be even more. Okay. Wow. Okay. So this one pops into my mind and I know I get grief about it, but so last year, one of the times I got to meet up with a few people that I met through YouTube and we actually went and sat and watched a movie together. It was this movie, and not saying I hate it and I need to rewatch it again. I only saw it the one time in the theater, but I had that overrated kind of feeling and maybe it got hyped up a little too much before I went in there, but it was Long Legs. So, I say that I've said that a few other streams and then people come at me with the pitchforks and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm not saying that. I think it just got built up to a level and I was expecting something a little bit different than what the movie was actually, and that's not its fault. It's just, that's what I'm saying. Not hating, but in my mind, it just felt overrated. But that being said, I do want to watch it again. I want to, knowing what I know now and going through it and get some of those expectations out of my head. I do want to sit down and watch that movie again.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, but believe it or not, I've actually heard a lot of people say that that it was overrated. They didn't hate it, but it wasn't what they thought there. And I've also met some people that loved it, and I've met a lot of people that hated it. So
I was with a group of there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 of us, and I was the only person I think that had that feeling coming out of it.
Wow.
And I'm like, what did I do wrong, or what did I watch wrong? But almost everybody else that walked out of it was like, that was awesome. But it did have a creepy factor. I'll say that for sure. But
yeah, I'm going to check it out eventually. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see the new movie from that guy, the monkey, that came out this weekend.
I do too. I've been hearing some good things about that.
Yeah, I'm a Stephen King guy, and I know it's very loosely adapted, but when I saw the Red Band trailer, I was like, oh yeah, this looks awesome.
I have not watched any trailers because I had fun going to the theater. Like I said, I'm trying to get to the theater a little bit more. And one that I saw, it was actually one of the mystery movie night ones. I didn't know what I was going to go watch. And I had fun with was Companion.
Oh, I want to see that.
I had fun with it. I know it's not everybody's thing. And you'll hear some people be like, oh, it sucks. And then other people will be like, oh, it was really fun. I had fun with it, but I felt like the trailer gave a little too much away in that. I still had fun with it seeing the trailer, but so the monkey, I have not watched anything for it. No trailers or anything, but I do want to go see that pretty badly.
Yeah, no, I again, I've been staying away from spoilers and such, but I did see the Red Band trailer for it, and just from that trailer, it looks like it's gloriously over the top bloody movie, and it's like, oh, but it's got like a humorous tone to it apparently. So it's like, okay, that works for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
I've had some friends that our likes cross over more than they don't, and I've had quite a few that have went and saw it in the theater and said that they had a really great time with it.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's what I hear.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's not supposed to be scary. It's just a fun movie.
Go have fun.
So, and I'm all for that. Cabin in the Woods was like that for me. I love that movie, but I went into that movie totally blind, and the ending of that movie just blew my mind. The first time I saw it, I love that movie so much.
That was another one I just saw in the theater that it was kind of the same way, where it was way more comedy to it than I was expecting. I knew there was gonna be some, but way more nice, and it was Hard Eyes.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet either.
So I had fun with it, but I know some people that went into it wanting just straight out horror movie, and there was too much for them. Too much comedy mixed in with it. But the best description I've heard people say is like, it's a mix between a rom-com and a slasher.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
It definitely has elements of both of those. But if you go in with that expectation that there's some comedy and some tongue-in-cheek type of stuff with it, but then some cool kills in there too, and some gore in there. I had fun with that one. So
nice. Yeah, I want to check that one out too. Let's see here. Greg, I went to the OmniMax Theater in Portland, Oregon in 1993, which was the first IMAX type theater in the world. It was an
Oh, that's
incredible
awesome.
experience. Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure it blew your mind at the time. Like when you see that for the first time. That's cool.
And let's see. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any questions, yes, we are going to be getting to those. I'm just kind of going through them real quick. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody that. Okay, Mike's back. Hello, Mike. It's good to see you. I hope you're feeling better, Mike. Mike just had surgery on his shoulder again. So
get well soon, man.
Speedy recovery
Yeah.
for you, my friend. I hope everything goes well for you. And Barry was answering your question about Arsenal. We played earlier. We lost to bloody West Ham, so I'm not happy. Sorry to hear that, Barry.
Sorry. Of course I bring it up. So I just one of our streaming services, I want to say it was Peacock. It came on and I flipped it on and was watching it. So anyway, when I had it in the background, and the last I saw it was 0-0 or 0-0 or whatever. What do you want to say? But there was no score at that point. So sorry to hear that. But yeah, I thought I saw there was a big match going on.
Okay, let's see here. Stacy wants to know, what is your favorite Tom Selleck movie starring performance?
Oh, Quigley Down Under.
Yeah.
I that ties back to my Westerns. So I'm not saying you have to agree with it.
No. Actually, that's a good one.
Quigley Down Under is probably one of my favorites of his, just because I liked him from other things too. I grew up with Magnum PI, man. I mean, he was always the like cool guy, in that show. Like, who wouldn't want to be him, like lounging around in a Hawaiian shirt and his Ferrari and doing all that stuff. So so if we're going movie, I'd say I really liked Quigley Down Under.
I will go with one that he is not the star of, but he is has a very big role in it, and that's In and Out with Kevin Kline.
I don't know if I've ever seen. I know what you're talking about. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Tom Selleck plays a news reporter who is gay, and seeing Tom Selleck play that character, because he was still, like America's heartthrob kind of at that point, it's pretty funny. And he's not flamboyant or anything, okay, but it was kind of shocking to see Tom Selleck play that character originally the first time I saw it, and he's great in it, and that movie is hilarious.
I'll have to check that out. I know what you're talking about, but I guess I didn't realize he was in it.
Yeah,
I knew Klein was, but I didn't know he was in it.
Matt Dillon's really funny in that movie too. I mean, it's a really good movie.
I'll have to check that out.
So thank you for your question, Stacy. Barry wants to know, question for both of you. Have you ever walked out of a film at a theater?
Do you want to answer first, or do you want me to answer?
I never have.
I never have either.
I've turned off plenty of videos and
I've stopped streaming.
Yeah. I mean, lots of DVDs, lots of VHS I've turned off. But if I bought a ticket, I'm sticking it out.
Same way. I have never walked out. I've probably walked out one being grumpy, being like, what was that I just sat through? But, and I'm even trying to think of that. I've been pretty picky about what I go out to see in the theater. So even Longlegs, where I know I was just making the comments about maybe feeling a little overrated, I did not regret, like, I would not have walked out of that one. I wanted to see where it went. It had enough that was hooking into me that I wanted to see where they were going to go with everything. So I never would have walked out of it, but no, I'm the same way. If I put the money down, I'm getting my time out of it.
Right. Now, when I worked in the theater, there was plenty of times that I popped my head into a movie then went, oh no, screw that. You Got Served? No, thank you.
Yeah.
Soul Plane? No, thank you. I mean, there was some pretty bad movies, but for the most part, like I said, if I bought the ticket, if I made the effort to go to the theater to see something, I'm going to stick it out.
And I've heard some people with that too, where they are lucky enough to have these like monthly movie passes for the theaters where they can just pay a flat fee and then just like pretty much almost see as much as they want to see. I've seen some of them where they were like, nah, and walked out, or they jumped in one for a little bit before the one they really wanted to go see started. But it was okay. With the pass, I can just kind of do whatever. So I could see that where you're not out any extra money, just whatever time that you spent sitting there. But
right. Not to mention how damn expensive it is now.
Yeah. Oh gosh. That's where I was talking about. I'm liking hitting, as long as it's not, we don't have an IMAX around me, but there's one screen that I forget what they call it, but it's a bigger, supposed to be a better screen and a better surround sound, and they have higher ticket prices for those. But the regular screens, which still I don't think are bad at all, if you hit the regular screens on Tuesdays, it's like half off. And then there's these mystery movie nights I was kind of talking about, where you don't know, you just know the rating and approximate time of the movie, and those are like $5. So I'm like, I'll go hit some of those for $5, you know?
Absolutely.
So far I've been okay with them. So
Right. Let's see here. Greg says, I slept through a few bad, boring movies in the theater, but never walked out. Yeah, I actually fell asleep during Chariots of Fire
okay.
when I was a kid. And I'm trying to think if I ever fell asleep in anything else. I almost fell asleep during The Thin Red Line.
Okay.
But because I had to go to pee so bad, it kept me awake.
Yeah. There was no way you were falling asleep then, because you were like, come on, let's get done with this movie here.
God. I mean, I like that movie, but Jesus, they could have cut at least an hour out of that thing. I mean, my God, that was a long movie theatrically. It was like, just get on with it, you know?
The only time I had that happen, it would have been around 1992. My dad took me on a work trip with him to go. He was going to be in Washington, D.C. And he was like, well, do you want to go along? I was in high school at the time. And he was like, do you want to go along? And when I'm working, you can go run around and see the sites or whatever. And I was like, yeah, sure. I still remember him and I went to the Smithsonian, and I think it was kind of like a IMAX. I mean, it was way bigger than I ever had seen before, but it kind of had a curved screen where it kind of came around a little bit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a regular theatrical release, but it was like the history of flight, and, you know, kind of like the big, all I remember, we sat down in that thing. We had been running around the mall, you know, like all the monuments all that day, and it was pretty hot. And I remember we sat down in there, air conditioned, and this big, it got dark. And all of a sudden, somebody bumped me as they're walking out. I kind of like look up and look over. My dad is kind of like rubbing his eyes, and he was like, how far did you make it into that? And so we figured out we fell asleep in about the first 10 to 15 minutes of that thing. And we slept. So I was like, I hope we weren't snoring too loud for everybody. But I think we were just beat, and it was so hot out. And you get in a nice, cool, dark setting. And yeah, we didn't make it too long in that one.
Yeah, Great America. I got Great America not too far from me here in Illinois. And, you know, Six Flags, for anybody who doesn't know what Great America is.
Yeah.
But they had one of the first IMAX screens. They called it the Pictorium back then. And the same thing. We'd wait in line to get in there just because it was so damn hot. And you could sit in there and watch a 40-minute movie and be in air conditioning. Yeah. But
that felt great. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that thing was at least like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, and I think we had a good hour and a half nap in there in the nice chilled air.
Okay, let's see. Mike is getting his oil changed. Too cold to do it yourself. Hey, I don't blame you there, buddy.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in this cold either. I don't know where you live, but where I'm at, I wouldn't want to do it right now.
Mike's in Kentucky, I believe.
Okay, but there's been kind of a cold blast coming across a lot of the Midwest. So
shit, down south they got more snow this winter than we did.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because we finally got snow last week. You know, there's my thumbs up going all at once, but and that would not be a thumbs up. But yeah, we got about 7-8 inches last week, and we hadn't had any since before Thanksgiving. I mean, none.
We had some after that, but it was not a lot. But yeah, we got about that same amount around the time you did. It's probably that same storm that kind of came across.
Storm,
But yeah, no, it's been pretty tame. We've had some cold stretches like temperature wise, but snow wise, it's been pretty tame for us this winter.
Let's see here. Barry says long legged.
Okay, so he's not judging me too badly then. He's not going to come after me.
Greg says Amelia Perez for overrated. Yeah,
I have not seen that. I have not seen.
Quite honestly, I got no desire to see that, and it's not because of the controversy and all. It's not. Apparently, it's even kind of like a part musical, and that's just it's not my thing.
But I heard the music was just not.
Yeah, I heard the whole movie's not that good, except for I heard Zoe Saldana is actually very good in it. But again, not my thing.
Yeah.
but to each his own.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
See, yeah, Long Legs is awful. Dan says, I also want to see Long Legs again too, but it was decent.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it again. I want to do another rewatch, but I'll do that with a lot of movies that don't hit like 100% with me. And I'm kind of like, but I'll give them another chance. I'll give another watch.
Midsummer was like that with me the first time.
Okay.
Or not Midsummer, I'm sorry, Hereditary.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The first time I saw Hereditary, I thought it was, because again, it got all those stellar rating reviews and such. And
Yeah.
I was like, this movie's overrated.
Yeah.
And then I watched it a second time and I was like, no, it's not overrated. This movie's awesome.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie.
For me anyway, even my mood at the time when I watch it, like sometimes I want to do a second watch. Like maybe I was just not in the mood for that type of movie at that moment, And
yeah, and then you start watching it and you're like, no, this movie's a piece of shit.
Yeah, right. You will. Yep, you will have those as well, but you gave it a fair shake, right?
Let's see here. Barry says The Shining is the most overrated film for me. Can't stand it.
All right.
I love The Shining. I mean, I saw that one theatrically with my parents too. When I was a kid. And imagine seeing that bathtub scene sitting next to your mother.
Parents.
But I will say this: I prefer Dr. Sleep.
I got to watch that. I have that, and that was one that I had a group of people. They gave me 3
I was
movies I need to
watching that
watch, and that was one of them. And
Yep.
I have that, and they were like, I know it's longer, but they were like, watch the director cut of that one.
Absolutely, I was about to say that. I mean, both versions are very good, but to me, the director's cut it does not feel like a 3-hour movie. It doesn't.
Yeah,
it moves, and it's creepy as shit. There's some great stuff in that movie.
I got 2 out of the 3 watched out of that list that they gave me. So the other was Oddity and The Descent.
Yeah, The Descent was really good. I saw that one theatrically too.
I sent a text to one of the ladies that suggested that to me. I was like, wow, that went south pretty quick. that movie. And they're like, yeah, they started off right off the bat. So
did you watch the US or the European theatrical cut of the Descent? Blah. Because the version that played here in America,
probably.
Okay. The way that it ended here in America was the blonde woman gets out of the cave, gets in a car, and then she sees Juno. And then that's the end of the movie. Okay.
Yep.
The cut that everybody else in the world
got, I saw,
which is much better. She gets out of the cave. That happens. And it turns out that that was kind of like a dream. She's actually still in the cave. She's got her fire, which is burning out. The creatures are coming towards her. And in her mind, she's at the birthday cake with her child. And that's how the movie ends.
Oh.
And it's such a better ending. It's
I could see that.
Good because
I gotta track that down and watch that.
When I saw The Descent originally theatrically, I loved it except for that ending. I was like, okay, that's just a bullshit Carrie shock ending.
Yeah.
Whereas the version that everybody else got is so dark and it's like, wow, this is great. And that's why I like the uncut version.
I got to track that down and watch that. Just, I know now, I know what it is, but like still just to see that, I agree with you. I could see that having a way different impact. Watching it.
It's just creepy as hell. The guy that directed that, Neil Marshall, I don't know if you've ever seen his werewolf movie, Dog Soldiers.
Oh, yes. Yes, I have it. Yes.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. I enjoy it. Yeah. I enjoy that. Yeah. I grabbed they had the newer 4K release that came out for it, and I grabbed it off of that. I really enjoyed that, but that was the first time I'd seen it, so I'm newer to that one. But I know it's had a fan base forever. But I agree. That's a good one.
Let's see here. Greg says Hard Eyes is okay if you can get past the rom-com aspect of it.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, I know like some of my friends, and I don't blame them, that they're just like, nah, they couldn't get past that part of it, or even just the amount of comedy that they mixed in with it. Like some people are just like, that's too much for me. So, but no, I can see that, Greg, for sure.
Runaway with Tom Selleck is a pretty good action film.
I didn't even think about that one. Yeah, right.
I remember we had that one
digging back
back in the day. I remember a bunch of Kiss fans walking in there because Gene Simmons was in it. Halfway through the movie, they got up and walked out because they were like, what the hell, man? I like that movie. It's cheesy as hell, but it's fun.
Oh, it's been forever since I've seen that one.
Let's see here. Anton Chigurh versus Sisu. Sisu, I love Sisu.
I had fun with Sisu.
That movie is so great.
There's a lot of good scenes in that. I know some people are like, it's just over the top and like action, whatever. I'm like, I don't care. I had fun with that one.
Stacy says, you're a mob boss. Pick 3 mobsters from movies for your mob, 1 mobster per each movie. So in other words, you can't have like the Corleone brothers, I guess, or whatever.
Oh gosh. That's where I'm gonna blank on. Well, heck, can you take the Joker from '89 Batman? That's a mob. Like,
why not?
Mob, but they're a mob, right? They're
why not?
Or the new Penguin, the series. So maybe I'll take the Joker for the. I'll tie it together. I'll take the Joker from '89 Batman. I'll take Penguin from Colin Farrell. The series he's got going on. That's the mob type thing, right? And I don't know on the other one. I would have to think about that.
I'll take Michael Corleone to be the brains. I'll take Joe Pesci from Goodfellas to be the muscle. And I'll take... That's a good one.
The 3 was stumping me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because I can't have another character from one of those movies.
How about can I take I'll take De Niro from Casino. How about that? That's mob, right? He's mixed up in the mob. I don't know. Just to come up with another one.
To be different, I'll take Christian Slater from Mobsters.
There you go. There you go.
His Lucky Luciano.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I definitely think Hereditary is better than Midsommar. Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that one, Texas.
I have not seen either one.
Hereditary is a slow burn, but it's really good. Toni Collette is just amazing in that movie.
I love her. So I think I will enjoy it just because there's a lot of stuff she's in that I like. And she's one of those, I kind of forget that she's in some of the things. And that's just my bad. But I would go back and watch it again and she's really good. I just recently watched, I know, a completely different movie, but Little Miss Sunshine.
I love that movie
and really enjoyed that one. And
I love that movie.
Yeah, but I think she's great. There's a lot of stuff I've seen with her that I have enjoyed.
Yeah, she's one of those chameleon actresses, like Tilda Swinton. You know, she could just basically do anything.
She can do anything.
Yeah. Hereditary was so scary. I wasn't big on Hereditary and don't feel the urge to rewatch, but I probably will. Well, hey, don't cave in to hate, Dan. And Texas says The Substance is excellent.
I'll see it at some point. I have not seen it yet.
Okay. Stacy, I am going to get to more of your questions or such. I see them here in the comments. I see you've asked a couple of times. I will get to it. I promise. Okay. We're just going to keep going with what we've got going, but I will definitely get to those questions. I promise. Okay. So we were talking about the overrated.
Yeah.
Let's go with the underrated. Something that most people just don't like. And you're like, no, you're wrong. This movie's great.
Oh man. I'm trying to think of which ones I've hit. I don't know if it's really underrated, but earlier, not to just like take an easy way out, but Quigley Down Under, when I mentioned that for a Tom Selleck film, I think that's overlooked a lot. For a true Western. Yeah.
I worked at the theater when that came out and nobody came and saw it. I mean, nobody.
Yeah. It did not do well in the theater. And I don't think a lot of people accept it as like a Western. It's in Australia. It's like based in Australia, but it's a Western. It's a, I don't know. I'm not saying greatest movie ever, but I enjoyed that one. But I think that is kind of overlooked or panned sometimes. And I like that one.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay. Now we're going to do the first round of the speed round, top 3.
Oh gosh.
Okay. I'm going to ask you your top 3 certain things of movie related, and I don't want you to think about it. Just pop out the first 3 that come to your mind. They don't have to be in order or anything like that.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. Okay, so Top 3 comedies.
Oh, Tommy Boy. Um, oh, comedies. Jeez. I have fun with it. I know it's stupid, silly, but The Jerk and Blazing Saddles.
Outstanding. Blazing Saddles is my favorite comedy of all time.
Okay,
so
there you go.
Outstanding answer. Okay, this one's going to be harder.
That's hard
Top
without
3
thinking
action
about it for a
movies.
little bit. Action movies. Oh gosh. Predator. Um, phew. RoboCop. I know it's sci-fi, but I think there's action with it. I don't know whether you accept that one or not.
It's an action flick.
Okay, yeah, I'll put that one in there. And then I got to go with like something like Bloodsport. You know, I grew up with the VHS days, so just pure action. Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is hard when you don't think about it for a little bit. I probably would pick completely different ones if we had like a half hour.
This is why we do this. Okay.
This is fun.
Top 3 sequels.
Oh, sequels. Empire Strikes Back. Sequels. Bad Boys 2. I'm trying to think of another sequel. That's hard when I'm like put on the spot here. I'm blanking out. Oh gosh, there's got to be another sequel. What am I? Godfather 2. We'll do that.
Okay. Fair enough. You mentioned 2 of the greatest sequels of all time, so you know.
This is a little hard one. I gotta.
And this is the one that we're going to use to segue into the second part of the show.
Okay.
3 favorite soundtracks.
Oh man, The Crow. I'll go with
Nice.
that. Gladiator. I know it's not.
No.
It's a score.
It could be score or soundtrack.
Okay.
Either or.
Okay. So I'd go Gladiator with that as well. And then one that just blew my mind at the time, not saying greatest one ever, but I was just recently talking about this, was Judgment Night.
Oh yeah. Judgment Night's got, because that was the one that incorporated the hip hop and the metal.
Heavy metal, yeah.
Mix. Yeah.
I just remember that blowing my mind in the probably early 90s or whatever. That when that came out, that was just like, I don't know, for whatever reason at that time, it was kind of mind bending. So in that sense, like you had like Run DMC and Aerosmith, you know, you kind of had like the crossover like that, but this was like, it seems like extremes. I'm like, how could it work out? But ended up being a great soundtrack. So
yeah, absolutely. I like the movie too.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. Yeah. Leary does a great villain.
Yeah, Larry's awesome in that movie, especially when he's ranting while he's like drowning the guy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, he's completely unhinged in the movie, but it's in a good way. Like it's a fun movie. But.
Yeah, no, that movie's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Dan had the Judgment Night soundtrack as well.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Yeah, I have the cassette of that somewhere. But.
Yep. Greg says Batman Returns for sequels.
Okay, see, if I had more time to think, that definitely would be a contender to throw out there for sure.
Barry says Streets of Fire has a great soundtrack.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, Diane Lane singing on that. And what was the band? There was a band at the time that was pretty hot. They did the Blasters, maybe? I don't remember. That's one of the few Walter Hill movies that I don't own.
Okay.
Because I'm not a huge fan of that movie. Black Rain had a great soundtrack. Yeah, is that Tangerine Dream, Greg? Because I know
I'll have to go visit that one again. I know the movie. It's been a long time since.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie as well.
I'll have to revisit the soundtrack.
Mike says Quigley is definitely underrated, and he's the Western guy, so he would know.
I love me some good Westerns, but I'll definitely, I think that fits in there.
Men at Work is underrated.
Oh, yeah. Man, I have not seen that one in a long
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in years, but I do remember that damn film.
Yep.
Barry says Black Rain is a perfect film, one of my favorites.
Oh, right. I'll to...
It's Greg giving a shout out to Greg Zimmer.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. Or Hans Zimmer, rather. Okay, yeah, as I said, we're going to segue here a little bit, everybody, because my good friend Corey there, his name of his channel is Wilkie's Movies and Music.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little music here, Corey.
Then you can show everybody how little I know.
No, not at all. Now, I know that you're in Iowa, so it's not a major market. I mean, I was lucky enough to live between Chicago and Milwaukee. Okay, but what's the concert situation by you? Were you able to go to any shows at all, or
some? There's some that would come through Des Moines. Sometimes what we got a lot was, it still would be some fun bands to go check out, but sometimes the openers for
Yeah.
the headliners, they'd be going, the headlining show would be going from like Chicago, St. Louis, Minneapolis, and they would have like a travel day, and sometimes those openers would
Yep.
branch off and be like, they'd run over to Des Moines for a day, or like someplace in Iowa, that, and you'd get those at a smaller club. And those were always kind of fun, where you might not know who they are, but you still have a great time. It'd be a smaller setting. Even if you're in the back of the room, you're not that far away from the band, kind of a thing. But it seems like we got quite a few of those. So there'd be some bigger names come through, but definitely not as big, where we wouldn't get everything like a Chicago or Minneapolis or St. Louis, or things
Right.
would get. But yeah, a lot of those, we'd look for those bands that would peel off from the tour for like that. They'd have a couple day travel between, and they'd hit some smaller clubs.
Nice. Are there any bands that, like say top 3 bands that you wish you could have seen, whether past or present?
I'll say this: I had 2 or 3 different chances with friends, and it never worked out. And some of these were like back in the early '90s, up like going to earlier. But Metallica was one that I always wanted to get out to see. I had requests from friends to go with them, and I never got to see. So I've never seen them live. So
Bummer.
I would have liked to have seen that, especially. I mean, that was huge when the Black Album came out, and we were in high school, and that was like the huge thing, and wish I could have done that. I'm thinking live bands. That same group went and saw AC/DC a few different times, and I never got to see them live. I think that would have been kind of fun, but I don't know. But then you can dig back to like, I don't know. I know I got grief on another stream that they were like way overplayed and everything, but man, like Zeppelin back in the day when they were like in
Hell yeah.
prime, that would have been a fun show to go see, but like any of theirs.
My first concert was supposed to be Zeppelin.
All right.
And Through the Outdoor came out,
Yeah.
and they pre-announced their tour, and they started selling pre-sale tickets. This was years before the internet.
Yeah.
But my brother Greg, who passed away last year, went out and got us 2 tickets for In Through the Outdoor, and John Bonham died. And we never got a chance. And that was going to be my first concert, because I was a drummer.
Yeah.
And my brother was like, "Hey, if you're going to go see a drummer, go see John Bonham."
You need to see him. Yeah.
So that's the one that I will always regret, not getting a chance to see. However, 2 years later, my very first concert ended up being Rush.
Oh, so you got
And you can't do much better than Neil Peart. So,
Yeah.
And that night truly changed my life. I mean, truly changed my life. And I was lucky to see Rush 15 times through the years.
Wow.
Saw Metallica 6 or 7 times. Saw AC/DC once.
Yeah.
The most memorable concert, though, unfortunately for me, through the years, and this one might kind of blow your mind a little bit, I saw Eric Clapton with Stevie Ray Vaughan opening for him.
Oh, geez.
And that was the final show Stevie Ray Vaughan ever made, because he died that night in the helicopter accident at Alpine Valley here in Wisconsin.
Okay, so that's crazy. First of all, that was the last show to see, but Stevie Ray Vaughan would have been cool to see. Yeah.
He was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah, I went to go see Clapton because
yeah. Well, Clapton, I'd be cool to see too.
I was a big Clapton fan, and that was also like his 25th anniversary tour.
Okay.
So he had like an all-star band going with him. I mean, Phil Collins was playing drums that night. I mean, it was just, it was
everybody
incredible show. But
wow.
Yeah, we drove home and went out, for breakfast and this and that and the other. And I got home at about 5 a.m. And right before I went to bed, turned on the radio again and had heard that they had crashed, on the way up the mountain after the concert. And what a loss. What a loss.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'll listen to him still. He's got, there's a couple live albums. I can't remember. I'm blanking on some names, but there's a few of his that I have tagged on my streaming services where I'll throw that on and listen to him, but just crazy on the guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a great show. I mean, just a fantastic show, but yeah, what a loss, you know. Okay, you're on a desert island that somehow has electricity.
Okay.
And it has a working stereo system.
Okay.
You have 3 albums, and that's it. What are your 3 desert island albums?
Oh, geez. Okay. Don't judge me too hard. Some of these are like sentimental ones, probably.
Hey, that's
that I'm
fine.
thinking of. So high school, a lot of great memories, and I still have I have a vinyl record of it. I'll listen to is Candlebox, their debut album.
What was that? I'm sorry, you kind of blinked out.
Candlebox.
Oh, Candlebox. Okay.
Yeah. Just I have so many great memories with that one, hanging out
Yeah.
with buddies and stuff. And that's an album I really enjoy. So I'd probably throw that one on there. That's like I say, don't judge me too hard here.
No, not at all. I like that. I like that album.
I really enjoy that one. Phew. Man, this is tough. Probably throw. I'm going to lean in hard on. Let's lean in on my '90s rock. I always like that quite a bit. So do maybe Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream.
Yeah.
I'll do that one. And then, oh man, I apparently I get stumped on the third option on all of these. I got to throw in something a little different on there too. I was trying to think of something a little heavier or something like that, or maybe I need something more relaxing because I got 2 rock ones on there already. I know some people probably say it overplayed too, but I'll just go with this so I don't hold up the show too much. But I know Black Album, Metallica. I know some people thought they sold out and went more radio play,
Yeah.
but that is one that's high school for me again. A lot of great memories, and man, how many nights with like some of those where I'm just hanging out with buddies and we're cranking that and
Yep.
just hanging out. And I think some of the pull is just those good memories. So if I'm just hanging out all by myself, it'd bring back a lot of great memories of some good friends, some still with us and some not, and yeah, I'd go with that.
No, the Black Album's great. I saw that tour twice, and
yeah.
it was a really great concert. My only problem with the Black Album, and it's not even a problem with the album or the song itself. It's just like you said, it's overplayed.
Yeah.
Enter Sandman. It's a great song. I never want to hear it again.
I'll be honest. I love that album, but I'll skip that one now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
And again, it's not an indictment on the song.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's just, it's like, you'll never find a bigger Rush fan than me. Okay.
Yeah.
I never want to hear Tom Sawyer ever again.
Yeah. There's only so many times you can hear a certain song before you're just like, okay, I got it.
And it doesn't mean that I don't love that, that song, it's just, and I actually watch people react to that song all the time, but yeah.
I know I go
no problem at all.
Start talking too much, but so that same type of time period, one that I always think of, and I like the album, but it was and I always probably say it wrong, but Queensryche.
Yeah, Queensryche.
So Silent Lucidity.
Yeah.
They played that one a ton. But I'm blanking on is it Empire?
Empire.
So I had fun with that album too, but I remember at a certain point I was like, yeah, they're playing Silent Lucidity quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, no, Empire is a great album. See, to me, it's funny you mentioned the Black Album and you mentioned the Empire album. Okay, I own both. Okay.
Yeah.
But I prefer the deep cuts to the singles.
There's a lot of good ones in there. Like,
There's
you can skip
some
that
great
heavily.
songs that nobody's ever heard off of those albums because they only hear, like you said, Silent Lucidity or Enter Sandman, and it's like I've never heard, Through the Never from the Black Album on the radio. I've never heard the title track Empire from that on the radio.
And which I really like the title track.
Hell yeah, I love that song.
Yeah. But yeah, I think both those albums you can skip that heavily played song and still have a great listen through the album.
Operation Mindcrime though is still my favorite Queensryche.
Oh yeah,
that album's great.
So I'll say I do like that, but Empire was my first introduction to them.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yep.
Let's see here. I'll Be Holding On by Greg Allman. Greg, love that song. Hell yeah. A lot of films I like, Jim hates. Yep, but that's the great thing, Barry, about this because it's so subjective, And speaking of, because I'm a whore and I'm going to plug my show.
No, do it. Go for it.
On Tuesday night, on Tuesday night, February 25th at 7:00 Eastern, on the next Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim, we're going to be talking about our 10 favorite guilty pleasure movies.
There you go.
So
they'll be interesting.
So Barry, I know that's, in the middle of the night in the UK, but watch that one on Sean's channel or on the Talking Movies channel on replay, and you can get on there and talk about how I have horrible taste in movies and I should be watching more Steven Seagal.
Get the Steven Seagal.
Barry's one of my favorite people on the internet, man. Me and him go back and forth constantly. It's great.
That's fun. Yeah, it's all in fun.
He's such a great guy.
You got to have a friend like that.
Always wanted to see Dio. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh,
I wish I could have seen Dio with Rainbow back in the day.
That would have been, that would be a cool concert.
Because I saw Dio solo, and he was great, but I've seen Deep Purple with when they reunited back in the 80s, but I would have loved to seen Dio with Richie Blackmore on stage together. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well, one of the more fun ones. Oh, sorry.
No.
Going
Go ahead.
But I love a lot of 80s, 90s, and early 2000s and rock. And so early 2000s, to kind of get in that a little bit, one early on, out of college, things like that, hanging out with some buddies, we went and it was Hurt, Cold, Disturbed, and Godsmack. And that was a fun concert. I mean, and at the time, a lot of the openers, I didn't really know, and I ended up really loving Cold. And that was, a band I dug into a little bit more, like Year of the Spider, I think is their album that there's a couple of good ones, but that one I think I kind of go back to a little bit more. But that's what's cool is sometimes, like you said too, with the Clapton and the Stevie Ray Vaughan, you go for the headliner. And what's cool when you get some surprises for those openers.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, I got to buy that album.
Yeah. I saw Godsmack. I've seen Godsmack twice. The first time I saw him was at Ozfest.
Okay.
And Disturbed was on that bill.
Yeah.
So, and that was the first time I had ever heard of Disturbed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Down with the Sickness. It was Testify.
I think
that was the first song. But I just remember not really paying attention until they started playing Down with the Sickness, and he went, "Oh, the first time," and I was like,
the first time you hear
that,
especially live,
they got my attention.
Yeah. So at that time, I knew that song when we went for them anyway. I knew that, but when he did it live and that whole place was just rock. I mean, you do have that kind of taken back, like, oh yeah, we're going now. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, what the hell was that?
What was that feral noise that we just heard?
Yeah. And I got to admit, they were great. They were great.
They put on a great show. Yeah.
But the second time I saw Godsmack, they opened for Metallica.
Okay.
And they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
They damn near blew Metallica off the stage that night, because that was one of the few times I saw Metallica that they weren't on their A game. Yeah. There was obviously somebody was having an off night that night. I mean, they weren't bad.
Yeah.
I've never seen them put on a bad show.
But just when you had the opener really bringing it.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, the weirdest one with Metallica, I saw them. It was either the Load or the Reload tour, but they had two opening bands. They had Seven Dust, who I really liked.
Yeah, I've seen them before.
Kid Rock opened. He was like the second opener, and that was when he was starting to go into the country a little more than the other. And I remember the only thing I really remember about his set was that he was pointing to women in the audience and getting them to show their tits. And it was like,
that was his show.
That was the show.
That was the show. So that popped in my head when you said like Seven Dust. So that was one of them I saw in a very small bar, like it's very small. It was set up for a stage and everything, but very tiny. But it was one of those, I think I don't know, maybe it was that same time, but I don't know. They were opening for somebody. And that was one of those nights where they peeled off from the travel, to the next big city and hit a small town bar. And that was a good show.
Seven Dust. I saw them twice. Once at Ozfest, once with Metallica, and they were great both times. I was a big Seven Dust fan for a while.
Yeah.
Mike, Signals tour, Jim? Yes, that is the tour, Mike. Saw that tour once. I saw Grace Under Pressure 2 nights in a row. The following year, or 2 years later, rather. And he also says he wish he would have seen the Ramones before they broke up.
Yeah.
Oh, had the chance. That sucks. Barry says he was unfortunate to see R. Kelly live. I want to pee on you.
Yeah, I might skip that one.
My dad's seen Stevie Ray Vaughan Double Trouble in '78. Wow.
Oh, that would
He
have
was
been.
like super young then, man.
Yeah.
He also says Candlebox is great.
Oh, yeah, I love them. But I also can agree if somebody doesn't like them. I know that for me, there's some of my movies and some of the music I listen to. I have some nostalgia, like some great memories, like being around friends or family, whatever. And I think that even heightens it even more. But yeah, that debut album of theirs, I can still throw that thing on and listen to it anytime.
It's a solid debut.
Yeah.
Saw the Pumpkins on that tour on my birthday, my senior year. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I've never seen the Pumpkins. And that's weird considering they're from Chicago. And God knows, I mean, they play Chicago more than anywhere else. Barry, Def Leppard would be coming to the desert island along with some Guns N' Roses and Steve Seagal live.
You had me with Def Leppard and Guns N' Roses, but then no, kidding. I'm just kidding.
But it also depends on what Def Leppard albums you're going with. Because if you're going with High and Dry, I will agree. I love High and Dry. That's my favorite Def Leppard album.
One of my favorites is Pyromania.
Pyromania is like my second favorite. I mean, but everything after that, Hysteria,
that was one that got played a ton. And that was it hit the radio hard, and they did not let that thing go.
And it's too poppy for me. It's just, I get it with Rick Allen losing his arm, and I give him all the credit in the world.
Oh, heck yeah.
Shit, he plays better with one arm than I do with two, so nothing but mad respect for him. But yeah, they did what so many of those bands did back in the day. They just started chasing the girls and doing the videos that they knew girls would like. And pretty soon Pour Some Sugar on Me is on so much that from the first time I heard that song, I was like, what is this? It sounds like a stripper song. And that's what it became.
Well, but you can go through that album too, and there's quite a few that I'm like, man, that was on the radio forever. Well, that one was on the radio forever, and that one was. You can go through that, and they had a run with that album. That thing stayed on the radio for
unbelievably huge.
Yeah, it stayed on there forever. But Pyromania was the first one I think I kind of got introduced to Def Leppard with, and so I don't know. You maybe say High and Dry was yours.
Yeah.
I know Pyromania, you probably say that with like Photograph, but I still like that one a lot. And then like But Rock of Ages, and I don't know. There's some fun.
No. Pyromania is a killer album. Like I said, but to me, High and Dry is just
really
that album kicks ass, man.
I got to go back and listen to it. It's been a while since.
It's so good. Greg says Alice in Chains, Dirt, Tool, Lateralis, and Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Absolutely, all three of those are killer albums.
So that's where I get stumped when I had to like name them off really fast. Like if I had a little more time to think about it, I probably would have thought about trying to throw a Pink Floyd in there somewhere. I enjoy Pink Floyd quite a bit. When you say Alice in Chains, I know it's not a full album, it's more like an LP, but Jar of Flies. So I love that. I can listen to that one whenever too. But Dirt's a great album too.
Yeah, Dirt to me is like the best grunge album of all time.
That was like the changing of the guard coming from like the hair metal bands.
Yeah.
I think Dirt was like one of the first ones that was just like hitting a nail in the coffin for some of those the hair metal bands.
Yeah. Yeah, out of the big four grunge bands, Alice in Chains is my favorite, without a doubt. Yeah. I love Soundgarden, I love Pearl Jam, I love Nirvana, but it's like if I had to only pick one, I'll go with Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Dan says, I love The Warning a little more than Empire. Yeah, The Warning is a good album too.
I'll have to go check. I'll go back and check.
Enforce, Take Hold of the Flame, and Roads to Madness, Dan. My intro to Queensryche was Rage for Order. Yeah, that's a good one. Operation Mindcrime. Yeah, I love Mindcrime. The most overrated band. Ooh. Oof.
That's what I'm trying to think.
All right. I'll go with one. Oasis.
Okay. Yeah.
I honestly don't get why. I get their appeal. I don't understand why people think that they're the best UK band since the Beatles, and that guy is a douchebag. So yeah, I just Oasis. I don't like them at all.
Wow, that's a tough one. Um, and there's some bands I really like, but then I'm trying to think of like, okay, looking across all their albums, do I like the full albums or do I just like a few songs off of some of those? And does that make them overrated then? And um, I don't know. I'm afraid to say a band name. That's where somebody come after me.
Don't worry about it. I will not give out your personal address.
Okay, I'll say this, but I really like the band.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see them live. I never have. I'd love to see them live. I was supposed to, and I had to sell the tickets off. But can I say Pearl Jam?
Sure.
But okay, this is where I enjoy them. I listen to them, but I don't know if many of their albums I just will sit and listen all the way through the album. I'd make more of a mix
Yeah.
of songs from their albums. So that's hard to say though, because like I said, I still really like them and I can see why people enjoy them, but there's quite a few albums where I just kind of like picking and choosing some of the songs I like off of it. And I don't sit and listen all the way.
No, I
all
totally
the way
agree.
through that.
I totally agree. Because 10, the debut album, is like the only one that I can listen to.
I can listen to that one all the way through.
all the way
Yes.
through. Yeah,
Yes.
every song on that album is great. But yeah, I'm like you. I own the first 3. I don't own any other Pearl Jam CDs.
I think I'm the same way, actually. I'm trying to remember what I got. Yeah. But 10, that's
It's a great album.
yeah, absolutely. And was one of those, the things were changing, at the time,
Yep.
and when stuff like that came out, and it was really, I don't know, that was like a shocker when you got some of that music coming out, when you were coming away from, I don't know, I don't know why this popped in my head, but like Warrant,
Yeah.
Cherry
No.
Pie, and then you go to like Alice in Chains Dirt or Pearl Jam
Yeah.
10 or
No, grunge.
Nevermind.
Grunge killed.
Yeah.
Grunge killed hair metal.
Or
It
even,
absolutely killed hair metal.
and this is not grunge, but one that was kind of going back to old school, and whether you like them or not, I like the Black Crowes, and at that same time,
Yeah.
that was kind of a shake up when it was going back to some more bluesy
Well, they were lumped in
Southern
as
rock
as an alternative
yeah,
rock
but they were like,
band, and it's like no, that I always thought of the Black Crowes as like just a regular old American rock band.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Well,
Southern roots to
yeah.
it maybe, but that's about it.
that's what I was going to say, a little Southern rock in there, a little blues maybe, but like just, it seemed like going back to the roots kind of a thing, like just an American rock band. And so I remember at the same time, like that end of the 80s, that very beginning of the 90s, when you had like the Black Crowes, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, like some of those like coming out, Smashing Pumpkins. And I know 80s, like I said, end of 80s, beginning of 90s, that was, I don't know, that was a lot of great music that came out. So
Yeah.
like I said, I know I already saw the comment from Holland in there. I do not hate Pearl Jam, but I'm just trying to think of like what I would consider overrated. And I know some people that
overrated
will,
doesn't mean bad.
no. And, but I know people that will travel the country and follow them. They go crazy distances to see their tour. And if they ever go on, whenever they go on tour or whenever they did, and would hit multiple cities and see like that same tour, see them like, I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but I'm like, okay, I couldn't do that. But
Right.
like I said, I had tickets to see them one time and we had to sell them. I couldn't go. But
Yeah, I've never seen Pearl Jam.
No.
It's one. Yeah, see, there you go. I haven't seen somebody.
somebody's gonna hate me for that. I get nervous about saying things like that.
Seven Dust was managed by J.J. French of Twisted Sister. Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, for real? I didn't know
I knew that.
Oh, cool.
Mike, I saw the Ramones like 3 times. Got to meet them twice.
Oh, sweet.
First time was a week before my 15th birthday. That's awesome, Texas.
Texas,
That
you
is-
got some cool stories with
That is really cool. Yeah. Greg took the words right out of my mouth. That is really cool.
yeah.
High and Dry is Def Leppard's best album for me. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I can see that.
High and Dry is definitive of Def Leppard. Hell
There you
yeah. Damn Texas, that is insanely cool. Die Hard the Hunter is my favorite song from Pyromania. Yeah, it's a good song.
Oh, yeah. I enjoy that album. Yeah, I'll go back to that one every once in a
I
while.
always like
So.
Too Late for Love.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Overrated Coldplay. Yeah.
There you go.
You know how I know you're gay? No. I love that movie. Sorry.
I was gonna say I know what movie you're going for.
Okay, I knew this was going to be coming back from at me from the UK. Oasis, how dare you?
I know there's huge fans. So
Yeah, I get it. I get
yeah,
it. And like I said, I understand how, their fandom, especially in the UK. Okay. But being an American, maybe, and being older, I didn't understand. I mean, the appeal. It's not that I'm saying they're bad. It's just, I couldn't understand why they were so big. You know what I mean?
but
Kind of
they
like
did.
Taylor Swift now, I guess, these days. I mean, again, I got nothing against Taylor Swift. I couldn't tell you a single one of her songs,
Yeah.
but I know she's the biggest thing out there, So I'm just old. I don't know.
That one album of Oasis, that early one, I'm blanking on the title of it now, but that was huge for a while here too. So I think that was such a big deal where it broke into the U.S. market so big,
Yeah.
And
Clip it. Corey hates Drew.
I know
That's what you're talking about.
that's the comment I saw, and I'm like, dang it, I knew I shouldn't have said anything.
Getting the
Somebody,
Talking Heads open with the Ramones at CBGB's in 1975. Wow, that would be cool.
yeah, yeah, I would.
At Barry, were you a Jam fan? I don't know what that means. Okay. They did, Greg. I believe they actually opened for Blondie there and vice versa. Yeah, that's really cool. And Barry says, no, I wasn't, mate. Didn't really listen to them then. Okay. And it's all good, Barry. I've always been a huge English punk fan since my teens. Rick Buckler, their drummer, just passed. Oh, sorry to hear that. All right, let me get back into some of my questions here.
Yeah.
Let's go back to, here we go again, which I just kind of did, but we're gonna do it again anyways. Overrated, underrated.
All right.
Right now, you just said Pearl Jam's kind of overrated, which is fine. Okay, what about underrated? Somebody that you think never got to be as big as they should have been. I mean, they could have been huge. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But you don't think that they got the credit that they deserve. That's
okay.
sort of thing.
Okay. No, I'm going to dig into my 90s again. Sorry. That's just, some of that time in my life. I think sometimes some movies and music that you listen to at certain pivotal points in your life, those decades kind of stand out a little bit more. So, like, one I really enjoyed this album. It's Seven Mary 3.
Oh, yeah.
American Standard is
Yeah.
the album. I really like that one. Remember buying that in college. Anyway, I'd say underrated. Like, I don't think that ever really caught on, or at least the people or the area I was in around, people would be like, who the heck is that? Like, never heard of them. And I'm like, you got to listen. Anyway, I enjoy that album a lot, and I think it's underrated.
Cumbersome.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I had that CD.
Oh, he had a heck of a voice on him. I mean, or still does. I'm not saying he does, but it just was unique sound. And I know it probably wouldn't be for everybody, but I was surprised that one didn't take off more. I don't know.
They got swallowed up by Creed.
Yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of bands came out around that time that had similar sounding singers.
Yeah.
And and Creed just seemed to, like, they swallowed up everybody around that time. And
yeah,
I gotta admit, when the first Creed album came out, I kind of liked it, but
I like it. I'll admit.
Yeah. My Own Prison, is that what?
Yeah,
My Own Prison. That
yeah.
that CD's still pretty good, but
I was listening to that. Oh gosh, maybe it was last month, but I put a picture. I have a vinyl record. Now I found it on actually discount at Walmart. It was like pretty cheap, so I was like, oh, I'll grab that. And I put it on one night, and I put a picture and sent it on Instagram. And I'm like, don't judge me. I was cranking some Creed, and then I was surprised how many people jumped out and were like, we're not judging you. It's like, invite us over and we'll have some garage beers, and like hang out and listen to Creed. And but it's like one of those bands. I think they were huge, and then it was popular to hate them, and then I think they've had a little bit of a, like, people coming back around to say they like them. But
yeah, I call it the Nickelback syndrome.
yeah, I think Creed is coming back a little bit more than Nickelback. But yes, I agree, where they just got big fast and they were popular, but then a lot of people all of a sudden you couldn't find somebody who actually bought that CD, but they sold a ton of the CDs, but
Mhm.
nobody's claiming to to have purchased it, but like, well, pretty sure one of you did, and I'll say I did. I bought it, but
Yeah, it's funny you were talking about Don't Judge Me. Back in the day when Hootie and the Blowfish
oh
were
yeah,
so
that was,
big, when Cracked Rear View Mirror or whatever the hell the name of that album was,
yeah.
and you couldn't go anywhere without it. My roommate actually posted a sign on his door, "No Hootie," with
Is it kind of like Wayne's World with like no Stairway to Heaven?
Yeah.
You have no
No
Hootie. Oh gosh, it would have been like 93 or 94. I remember that like blowing up, like Hootie and the Blowfish. That was a big, but there was quite a few bands around that time too that maybe were a little more poppy, but I still liked them. Like oh gosh, now I'm like completely blanking on. Oh gosh, I'll come back to it. But there was like some around that time where I was. Gosh, now I'm like totally blanking. I could forget my own name on a live stream. I swear it. But Rob Thomas, what was the band?
Maroon 5
No,
or not Maroon 5. I know what you're talking about.
but there was like something like that I was like, oh, they're fun to listen to. And oh gosh, I cannot believe I'm totally blanking on the name of the band. But you know what I mean? Like they were mainstream. They got a lot of great radio play. They were nothing like, but they were still fun, and I could still go back and listen to them. But yeah, but then like Goo Goo Dolls, I think they got kind of like lumped into that, but they were kind of like more almost like punk a little bit, but then kind of went a little more mainstream.
Yeah, they had that one song Iris, and then suddenly now they're a pop band.
Yep. So anyway, sorry, I'm good at getting
problem.
off track.
New Kids on the Block were underrated.
There you go.
Hang tough.
I don't know. There was a lot of girls in my class that were loving them, and at the time, so.
Texas says, although the Lemonheads version of Step by Stuff is fucking great.
Okay. I had a Lemonheads CD. I'm trying to think of
Matchbox 20. Thank you.
Thank you, Texas. Man, like I said, I could forget my own name on a live stream sometimes, but yes, Matchbox 20. But it was harmless band, but you could throw in the album, and I had fun with it still.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's stuff that I listened to back in the day, when I was in high school and such, or even younger, that I swore by back in the day, that if I listen to it now, there's nostalgic love there.
Yeah.
But I'll never admit to anybody that I like it. I mean, that sort of shit, I mean,
yep.
So yeah, I mean, God knows I saw a lot of bands that it was like, really?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like joking about when you were talking about Nickelback, where like they sold like a bajillion albums, but then all of a sudden you can't find one person that admits to have bought one of them. And there's like some of those bands. So maybe that'd be kind of fun sometime to do a listing of like bands that you're afraid to admit you bought the album, but you still like. Maybe that would be like your guilty pleasures. But you think of like a Creed or Nickelback or Limp Bizkit or like some of those where like people are like, no, I never bought that. I'm like, whatever. You have there's a 1 in 3 chance you bought that album because they sold so many of them. But
yep. And before anybody gets cheeky, no, I do not own the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, so don't ask.
That's funny.
John Doe is here. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for being here, my friend. Greg says The Offspring were a great band. Yeah, I really enjoyed The Offspring. I mean, a lot of their songs sounded similar.
Yep.
But I really enjoyed The Offspring quite a bit. Some of their songs were funny as hell. I mean, Pretty Fly for a White Guy was
that's a funny one. That's a funny one. One that came up, I have like random mixes that will go, and one I hadn't heard for a long time. It happened to pop up. It's funny you're saying Offspring was Let the Bad Times Roll.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just kind of came on and it just made me smile. I was like, oh, it's kind of fun, and hadn't heard it in a long time.
Barry says, I have Creed and Nickelback albums still.
There you go. See, like,
there you go.
Be proud. And I bought both of them back in the day. And I Creed, like I said, I came across the discount vinyl record in Walmart of their first album, and I was like, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, I wish I had some of my old vinyl. Just got rid of them through the years, thinking, now it's the next thing. I mean,
did the same thing.
I had at least 300 cassettes, but I mean, those things wore out eventually. I mean, you get that, I don't know. That was probably before your time, where you'd sit there with a tape player next to the radio trying to record your songs.
Oh,
when
no,
they
no.
came out. Yeah.
I did that all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah?
we had a local radio station. We'd call in to request songs for the night, and they would do it like live. And like sometimes they'd be like, "And requested from Corey from so and so," and we'd sit there, and I'd sit there and try to tape it on the tape deck, and then I'd always get mad because sometimes you get the DJ that would not shut up, and they would like talk like 15, 20 seconds into the song. I'm like, "Shut up! I want." Anyway. You know what I'm talking about?
That another song before it's over. That's
yeah, right.
Shit
Yeah,
that used to piss me off.
Yeah, but there were like some they would keep on talking. You can hear the song going, and you're like, "Stop talking! I wanted to record that." I'm gonna call back and request it again.
Shit, when Another Brick in the Wall came out,
Yeah,
from Pink Floyd,
Yeah.
I was like 12 years old, and me and my buddy called the radio station at least 100 times that night. This one night, requesting to the point where the guy was like, "I recognize your voice. You just requested this. I'll have it on eventually." So then we'd call back and we'd start disguising our voices. But again, we're 12-year-olds, so it's
How
not
much
like
disguising you can
you're
do.
supposed to-
there was like only so much of a brand or a range of voice that you could like do at that time. And he's just like, I know what you're doing. Oh yeah, I'm sure we annoyed some of the DJs too, but yeah, there were sometimes where there was a big song, and yeah, I remember doing that. And then you just sit there and have the radio on and keep the boom box right next to you and get ready to hit the play and the record button so you could grab it.
Yep. Let's see here. Texas says Goo Goo Dolls did start out as a punk band. I
Yeah.
saw them do a short showcase in a tiny club with a band called Best Kissers in the World, and Goo Goo Dolls played mainly faster songs and a few Devo covers.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. I've actually seen Goo Goo Dolls a couple times, but it was after they got bigger, so it kind of went into probably more of their mainstream stuff. But they put it on a good show.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with Dirty Dancing, Jim. Just give in. Yeah. One of us.
That's funny.
I heard on the internet grapevine that Jim likes Aqua Barbie girls. So here we go. It never stops,
Oh man, I forgot about that. That thing would get stuck in my head when they would play that thing. So, yeah.
Oh, here's a good question from Greg. If I can get it to come up. My stupid tablet starts. Okay, favorite original song for a film.
Oh geez.
Live
That's
and
hard.
Let Die.
Oh, babe, yeah. Oh gosh, that's what I got to go back to. Like James, I love James Bond movies, so I almost got to look back through them. That's a great one. I'm trying to think of. Well, see, that's what's hard. If it's an original song for the film, or if it was just one that was just heavily promoted that way. What was the Guns N' Roses? You Could Be Mine from Terminator 2. That's probably not an original one for the album, but the Use Your Illusion albums were like huge
actually,
and tied
originally
into it.
that was produced for the movie.
Okay.
And
So
then
I'll
they
say
added
that.
it to the album. So yeah, that
Perfect.
works.
I'll go with that one. That was huge at the time, and I remember. So I also remember when they did that, they split they had the Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, the two albums, and I didn't have enough money to buy both of them. And I remember that was like the big concern. We were debating which one to buy because I couldn't buy both of them. And I'm like, man, I wish I could have the problems I had. Like my big concern and problem I was stressing out about was I can't afford both albums. Which one do I get?
Yeah.
Little did you know.
I bought both of those albums the day they came out.
Yeah.
Listened to them both and thought, man, half of this album's great and half of this album is great. Why didn't they just put those two together?
Could have been just one album. Yeah. I think that was kind of a common theme for people with those. But yeah, I remember that just being huge for that. But I always think of that song with that movie. So yeah, I'll go with that.
No, good pick. I thought when you were saying because you were cutting out and I heard Rose, I thought you were going to say the song from Titanic.
Oh, no.
My heart must go on or whatever.
Oh, no. You're like, sorry, Corey, we lost you.
That's right. Technical difficulty.
And there's the end of the stream.
Goo Goo Dolls are good. What happens in Accounting Crows? Yeah, they kind of.
I saw the Crows in it would have been probably early to mid '90s. I saw them live. I thought I like that. Is it August and everything after, or I can't remember what that album's called. The big one that has Mr. Jones and
Yeah, I know
around,
that song,
around
but-
here, and you know.
Yeah, I was
Anyway.
never a huge fan. I never owned any of their albums, but I do know that song, of course. Yeah, that song was huge.
Oh yeah.
Philadelphia by Neil Young gets me sometimes. Beautiful song. Yeah, that is a very beautiful song. Counting Crows just put out a new record. There's a couple of new videos up here on YouTube. Yep, there you go.
I'll have to go look that up.
And Greg says, yes, that did come out before Use Your Illusions. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Whew. I'm off the hook. I got
Shark
one.
Fin by LL Cool J.
LL Cool J. I just always think of that Mama Said
Mama
Knock
gonna
You
knock
Out.
you out.
I always just think of that song automatically whenever I hear LL
Yeah,
Cool
I know.
J.
I know LL Cool J more as an actor than I do as a
Yeah.
rapper, to be honest. You know.
Yep.
But yeah, I love that song though. Mama Said Knock You Out.
Yep.
It's catchy as hell. You can't.
Oh
you know.
yeah. Yeah.
Whatever happened to Crash Test Dummies?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, there's the song. I don't know. I think that's like the title of it. It's just like M's, you know, like, but oh yeah, no, I forgot about that. That dude had he had a deep voice. It's interesting voice. It's fun hearing some people, even if you're not into the music itself. It's interesting hearing people that bring something different to it. And he definitely had a very, very deep voice. But
Mike says that he didn't survive the crash.
he was one of the dummies we lost. So.
Yeah, it's like the Toadies. Remember the Toadies?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, Possum Kingdom was like huge.
Yeah.
And again, never heard from them. I think they
What was
might
that?
have put out
Make
another
up-
album, but
Make up your mind. Is
Yeah. yeah, I love that album. That
oh
album
gosh,
was
that
like,
was a good song. Yeah.
yeah, I bought that CD and it's like only 29 minutes long. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's like every
listen.
song on there is like 2 minutes long,
It's-
you know, but
It's brisk.
yeah, it's very, you know, but yeah, I love that album and they just kind of disappeared.
Oh yeah. I'll throw in there too. I was just talking not that long ago about Sponge. Do you remember them? Plowed.
Yeah.
That was that song. I was just talking on another stream about that one. And that's another band too that probably similar time frame where you're just like, yeah, they kind of pop up and a song hits the radio for a while and then they kind of
Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, oh, here we go. Texas says Toadies split up and have reformed a few years ago. Cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like I said, Rubberneck. I think that was the name of that CD. It was
That was a huge CD.
catchy
Yeah.
as hell, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just really catchy. Favorite J Lo song? I don't know any J Lo songs.
I'd have to
I
look
couldn't tell
something
you.
up. I honestly don't know names.
Yeah, you could
titles
hold a
of
gun
her
to my
songs.
head, and I couldn't tell you a single song from J Lo. I know her from having a big ass and being in movies, and that's about it.
Other than that, you don't
Yeah.
know much.
And there's worse things to be known for. So,
Yeah,
you know.
hey, she made a living off of it. So, hey.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Top three again,
Oh gosh. Okay.
but this one's going to be just short and sweet. Top
Okay.
three bands.
Top 3 bands.
Mhm.
Oh shoot. All right. Since I left them off the album list with the, I'm gonna say Pink Floyd. I'll put them on there. Gosh, I hate. I don't mean it in a bad way, but I hate these. You're like, oh, thanks for coming on, Corey. Man. So I'll go back and listen to them a lot. So top 3. What am I going to be in the mood for? Okay, we'll do Pink Floyd, Metallica, and gosh, who's somebody else I can throw in the mix there that has a lot of stuff. I tell you what, I get tripped up on the third one all the time. Don't say Pearl Jam. And Pearl Jam. Like, you're a liar, Corey. You're a dirty, dirty liar.
I had to pop that up.
As soon as it actually came into my mind, and I'm like, no. But then I saw that out of the corner of my eye. Oh gosh. Of all time, I don't know. I mean, I know people say they're overplayed, but I mean, I can go back to Zeppelin a lot too, but I know it's mainstream and
Zeppelin's one of my three.
okay, well, we'll go with that then. If you're not, because I can think about like bands I will go back and listen to, and they have a lot to listen to. So yeah, I'll throw Zeppelin in there
Nice.
because I'd say one of my greatest memories, like of introducing to them, was when my cousin came from from Minneapolis area and brought with him a cassette tape of, and I know some people are like it's way overplayed, but the Led Zeppelin 4,
Yeah.
you know, those
Zozo. Yeah.
that yeah, that was the first time I was introduced to them, and my mind was blown. And he let me borrow the cassette for a while, and I played that thing. I'm surprised I didn't wear the thing out. It was just so different from what I'd heard, and it's so funny. You always have those moments. I think every preteen or teenage kid at some point has heard some band that's been around forever and they experience for the first time and they're just like, why hasn't anybody ever heard of this before? Like you think you're finding them out for the very first time, and that was I remember doing that with them. So
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do on the internet, what got me on YouTube in the first place is when Neil Peart died. I was mourning, so I started watching tribute videos and started watching people react to Rush.
oh
And one of my favorite things back then was watching these 20-year-olds listening to Rush for the first time and going, holy shit, you know,
yeah
how come they don't make music like this anymore? And then they would watch a video clip of them and say, holy shit, it's only 3 guys. You know?
right.
I mean, that's what would always blow their minds, you know?
Or you being into drum, you know, like drumming. It was kind of funny when my son was into the band a little bit and like jazz band and stuff, and it's kind of fun to see them experience some different music. And I remember some of them that were in percussion that would kind of have some of those moments with like Rush or Zeppelin or something where they're in percussion and then they see what like Neil was doing or like some of them were doing, and their minds were blown because they were just like, so that's cool to see when you see generations later somebody go back and they think they're pretty good, you know, in high school, like doing their thing. And I'm not saying they weren't good, but then they like see something like that and you see like that, those like rare oddities, you know, the people that were just above and beyond and so creative and talented. And
my first concert, you know, seeing that guy and our seats were in the balcony right on the side of the stage. So he was literally perfect view of me, you know? And for 2 hours, I just sat there with my jaw on the floor, just going, how in the hell is this guy doing this? You know? And it just made me appreciate the instrument so much more, you know?
There was a guy, oh gosh. And I'm sorry, you can tell me to shut up at any point. I
No,
know
not
I
at
talk
all. Not at
way
all.
too much and like, man, it was a YouTube video string I was seeing where they were bringing on drummers from different bands and they would like let them listen to a song that they'd never heard before. It was a big popular song, but they never heard it before. And some of them would listen to it like one time without, and they'd take the drum track out of it all together. And they're sitting there like making some little notes, and then they'd have to play it along with it, like what they would do. And it was crazy what they were doing. There was, I had to look it up because I'm blanking on the guy's name, but he was drummer with Megadeth, at least at the time. And he was doing, it was just crazy to watch where he would hear a song without a drum track and just be sitting making scribbles and notes like as he's listening through it and do it like one time. And then they play it through him playing the drums with it. And it just, I don't know. It's amazing the talent that so many of those people. So maybe something to say underrated when there's sometimes I think musicians in hard rock bands or metal bands or punk bands, they're underrated of their musical talent that they have.
Absolutely.
So it's just crazy to watch that. And I mean, it blows my mind that they're like, oh yeah. And they're just like writing some little scribbles. And then the next playthrough, they're jamming along with it and like doing a really cool job with the drum track with it. But anyway,
sorry, I've seen a couple of those videos. Actually.
It was Drumeo or something like that.
Yeah,
I think,
something like that.
Yeah,
it's really cool. But I couldn't do that shit.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But some of them, they just have such a mind and an ear that they can just pick it up. But then with that too, not only pick up what the band's doing without hearing drum track, but then be creative enough right on the spot to be like, okay, what am I going to do along with that? And they just do it. And I'm like, it's a talent. It's cool. I wish I had some of that. I do not. I sit back and listen to it, but I can't do it.
Yeah, I always used to say that I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, so that's why I play drums.
Yeah. Oh no, man. I that's cool that you did too for I know that
Yeah,
was big.
I took to it like a fish to water, as
That's
a kid,
awesome.
and just loved it, played it for years. The body can't take it anymore.
Oh,
Not to mention, it's not like a guitar where you can plug in headphones to your amp and not make any noise. You could put pads on those suckers all you want.
still
You're still going
loud.
to make noise.
Yeah, still loud.
So
But yeah, I could see where they take a beating on your body. I mean, it's crazy watching some of those too. If you watch any videos of some of them after like during concerts or something,
mhm.
they're just freaking drenched and
Oh yeah.
like just spent. I mean, they're going at it hard a lot of times for that whole concert. I'm not saying the other people in the band don't, but it seems like they take a beating.
Well, Neil Peart had one of my favorite quotes of all time. Somebody asked him once, he said, "What is it like to play a concert, one of your concerts?" And he says, "It's like running a marathon while doing advanced calculus in your head."
Yeah, because you're thinking of the timing and everything that
Yeah.
they're and they're the backbeat of the whole. I mean,
Yeah.
they're keeping
If the
the
drummer
time for everybody else.
is off, the whole band is off.
Yeah,
You
no, I
know,
can
and
see that.
that's what I learned, in grammar school band. You are the heartbeat
Yeah,
of this song or
Yeah.
of this piece. The band will follow whatever you're doing. So
Yeah.
if you are off, they are off.
Yeah.
And
you're the tempo. You're the
Yeah.
you're the
you're the glue that holds it all
Mhm.
together. And unfortunately, a lot of people that listen to music, they don't really focus on the rhythm section.
Right.
The bass and the drums are just, if not more important to the structure of a song than the lead guitar and the singer.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree. Yeah.
but that's just me being a snob.
Nah. no. That's a drummer.
That's
speaking
right.
there. Yeah, right.
AC/DC, Iron Maidens, and Scorpions, seen all three in concert. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And Iron Maiden needs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. That is just, ugh.
I guess I didn't realize that, but that surprises me that they're not.
Yeah. It just pisses me off to no end.
I never got into Iron Maiden a whole lot, but we loved Eddie, the posters. It seems like the artwork on the albums are always awesome.
Yeah, when I was a kid, everybody was convinced that they were devil worshippers, because
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Eddie and Number of the Beast and all that
Yeah.
shit. And it
Yeah.
was like, no, actually listen to their music, and
Yeah.
no, these guys are not devil worshippers.
Yep.
Have you ever gone to watch a movie, and as you're watching it, you're completely surprised to hear one of your favorite songs come on?
I probably have. I just can't think of anything right off the top of my head right now.
One of my favorite songs of all time since the time I was a little kid is Hocus Pocus by Focus.
Okay.
And it's used brilliantly in Baby Driver. Have you ever
Okay.
seen Baby Driver?
Yes, I have, and I'm trying to think of what song it is. What scene are
Odi,
you?
odi, 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 o, ba,
Oh,
ba,
I
odi,
gotcha.
odi, odi, odi,
I
odi,
gotcha.
odi, and they're shooting the guns to it.
Yeah.
I
I gotcha.
It's so good.
Music plays a great role in that movie.
That movie is a musical without singing and dancing.
Yeah, but it just, and I still love that opening, the bank heist getaway scene,
Mhm.
and him singing along with the track beforehand, and then
Where he's just sitting there and all at once,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, right. And he's just like whapping the side of the car, and it's like, no, that's a great. I can go back and just watch that, but I'll have to go back and watch that movie now and catch that song. But yeah, a lot of great music in that.
Yeah, I love it when he rips off the lady's car, and then he has to find the right song, and then turns around and throws her purse and says sorry, and she's just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, that's a good movie. Yeah, that's
I
fun.
love that movie so
Yeah,
much. It is
that's
so
a fun
good.
one.
Mike says Thin Lizzy might be my favorite band. Love their deep cuts. Absolutely.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The Jailbreak record, not a bad song on it. Yep, that was one of the very first albums I ever owned because of Boys Are Back in Town. That was like one of my first favorite songs as a kid.
Nice.
I'm glad I like a lot of bands people don't know about, because then I can introduce them to people maybe. Absolutely.
That's fun. Yeah.
And that's actually my favorite thing about doing this YouTube thing, is with movies. Bringing up movies that maybe somebody has never heard of or forgot about, and going and then reading in the comments, "Oh, wow, that sounds so good," or "I'm going to check this out now." And that always makes me happy.
Yeah, I always joke around, but I honestly always have a pad of paper and a pen next to me when I'm doing these live streams because it never fails that I'll have something that either it was a one I have never caught or one I hadn't seen in a long time, and somebody will bring it up and yeah, write it down to try to get to it again.
Okay, now I'm going to try to get to some of Stacy's questions because we're at 149, and I told her I would get some. So
Okay, well, and I'm sorry, I know I talk way too much.
So. No, that's my fault. But again,
no, I talk.
We've been having a great conversation, and
this is a blast.
Normally I overtalk, so I'm so happy. Don't, by all means, it's great.
I always feel like at the end of these things, I'm always like worried I was talking too much or something.
Oh, but I do need to bring this one up because Greg, this is a fantastic album. Nazareth, Hair of the Dog. That album is fantastic.
There you go.
Miss Misery and Changing Times are both killer cuts on that. I love it. Okay, here we go, Stacy, and this is a good one. What is your favorite Powers Booth performance? And please don't say that you're not familiar with Powers Booth.
I'll be honest with you. I'm blanking right now.
He played Curly Bill in Tombstone, and he was the major who got shot down in the original Red Dawn. And he was in so many other great movies.
I'm looking up quick. Sorry, I'm completely blanking on.
Well, my answer to that, Stacey,
oh gosh, I know who that is.
Yeah, Powers Booth was one of those great actors. He was in so many great movies.
Oh gosh, I know the face right away when I see that. But
I will go with Southern Comfort, Stacey, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. Him and Keith Carradine are fantastic in that movie together. But his best performance was probably playing Jim Jones in a TV movie about the Jonestown Massacre back in the day. He was chilling in that movie.
Man, I think I could look back. I'm trying to so that's the thing. Now that you said that, the only thing I can picture him in is Tombstone now, and
he's great. I mean,
yeah.
Powers Booth was one of those guys that was incapable of giving a bad performance. He was great in everything.
And I'm bad with names, I'll admit that. But man, as soon as I saw his face, I'm like, oh duh, yeah, I know who that is. But yeah, I'll go with I'll just have to go with Tombstone. But I see he's also on a movie I just bought. I have not watched it yet, so I can't name this one probably. But I just had bought Frailty.
Oh, Frailty's fantastic.
And I see he's credited in there.
Yes.
So that's one I'm excited to watch here pretty soon. So.
Please do. That is a fantastic movie. Bill Paxton directed that.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, really, really great movie. Okay, thank you, Stacy. Let's see here real quick. Dan says Southern Comfort.
There you go.
Southern Comfort, Extreme Prejudice. Yeah, he's awesome in Extreme Prejudice. That's with Nick Nolte.
Okay.
Also great in Frailty. Absolutely. Mike says, I always skip back. Boys are back in town. Sometimes Jailbreak and let the rest of the songs play. Yeah, I love that whole album. I think it's great. All right, let me see. Let me get back to see if I missed any other questions here. And I'm going to go up real fast because I know Sarah had a lot of them. Pardon my ignorance here, guys. I know this isn't exactly.
Oh, no.
Sing a song there, Corey.
Got to think of my favorite J-Lo song now. Right?
There you go.
Or I'll sing Aqua Barbie Girl.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, here you go. Who'd win, Cobra or John Matrix from Commando? So Schwarzenegger or Stallone?
I'll go Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, me too. Let's see here.
Both fun movies, though. Both fun movies.
Bogart comes back to life and is fit and wants to act again. He asks you for advice. Should he be the next Harvey Two-Face or the next A-Team Hannibal? I don't know about either of those. Stacy, who would play Bjork in a biopic?
Bjork. Only Bjork can play Bjork. I love seeing her pop up in movies once in a while, though. But
right,
I can't remember. The most recent one was probably The Northman that I saw.
I haven't seen that yet. I heard it was really good, though.
She has a small role in it, but I mean, you really can't tell it's her, really. But
Bruce Willis says no to Die Hard. Cast Don Johnson or Ted Danson. Gotta be Don Johnson.
I was gonna say I can't picture Ted Danson. Don Johnson at least has tried to be serious roles, or whatever. But And he's played the cop, you know, he was in Miami Vice forever. And yeah, that's what I'd go with.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to kind of go with that too. Some of these are just crazy. So I'm kind of scanning through them here.
I got to figure out how Stacy comes up with these questions.
Oh, no, this one's interesting. I like this one. It is the early 2000s. Ethan Hawke says no to Training Day. Who do you cast instead?
Oh. Man.
That's a good question.
Yeah. It's hard to come up with some of these right off the.
I'll
So I'm
go
trying to
with
think
Brad
around
Pitt.
that same age. And what's that?
I'll go with Brad Pitt. He's a little bit older, but I'll still go
Okay.
with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, you could do that. I don't know. I don't know why this face is popping in my head. I'm not saying it's the best one for it, but oh gosh, why am I blanking on everybody's names today? I'm like having a really Keanu Reeves. I'll go with that. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a good one for it, but I just answer the question and keep going. I'm just trying to come up with a name because he's around
Take
the same
another
age and
mulligan.
stuff, and he'd be like a innocent, you know, naive type
Yeah.
cop for it. Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Can you trade one De Niro starring role for one Travolta starring role?
I'm not a big Travolta fan. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but
No.
I'm not a.
Depends on the movie.
So I don't know. I don't think I would want to see Travolta taking over any De Niro's roles if that's part of the question.
Travolta can take De Niro's part and meet the parents.
There you go. There you go. I could see that. I can sign on for that one. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about De Niro. I kind of forget about the Meet the Parent movies, but
And I'm trying to think of a Travolta role that De Niro would fit in.
yeah.
Outside of, because even Pulp Fiction would maybe Get Shorty,
Yeah, I can see that.
you know, playing the Shylock.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's
Yeah.
about all. Yeah, I can't really think of any other ones. But thank you, Stacy. Sorry I didn't get to all of them, but I told you I would definitely get to a couple of them. Let me get back down here, make sure I didn't miss anything here, because we are coming up on 2 hours. Wow, this really flew by, Corey.
I'll tell you what, I just don't shut up. And then you're like,
No, it's great. Because like I said, I have a tendency to talk too much. So
well, I feel like I do too. I always get self-conscious about that.
Yeah,
when I
me
get done
too.
with these,
Me
so.
too. As a matter of fact, every time I talk to Kenny and Sean on ours after every show, and they're always like, "Great show," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I talk too much. I talk
do
too
that
much."
too. I do
And they're
that
like,
too.
No, you're fine." And I'm like, "No, I talk too much."
No, I always feel like that.
Okay, let's see here. Extreme Performance is a great movie.
I have to go back and check that out. I have to see if I saw that one or not.
What about De Niro and Welcome Back, Kotter? Played Barbarino.
Exactly. I love
That's
that.
great.
I love that, Greg.
That's great.
I love it.
And my son William is here. Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's
Hope
it
you're
going?
having a good day, buddy. All righty. Yeah, that's great. All right, guys. Well, we are coming up on 2 hours here, so we're going to start wrapping this up pretty soon. But before we do, Corey, I want to give you another chance to plug your show. Anything you got coming up, or any little exploits you might have. The floor is yours, sir. By all means.
Oh, yeah. I always feel weird doing this part of it. But I have some things that are going on. I'll just say, like, on my YouTube channel, I try it on that community or that post tab. I usually try to throw things out there that I got going on. So if you're interested and want to check the stuff out, take a look out there. But yeah, I don't know. I always get self-conscious, like plugging it too much. But if you like hanging out, talking about movies and music, I know I lean into the movie side of things a lot more, but it's fun when I get to do things like this with you, Jim, and bring out more of the music talk. Had a blast doing that. It's kind of fun. Had some good, tough questions for me, and it's hard to think on your feet sometimes and go through some of those things. But I'll just say I had a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you having me on. And now I got to twist your arm, and we'll get you over on mine sometime, and we'll continue the both of us talking too much for a while for a stream or whatever.
The long distance bromance.
There you go. No, it's fun. I had a really good time doing this, but a lot of great conversation. You got some fun questions that put me on the spot, but it's fun to kind of do a rapid fire and think through some of those things.
The pleasure's all mine. This has been a
Yeah.
long time coming.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we were able to do this, and we will definitely have you on again. And even though he's a little self-conscious about plugging his stuff, I will plug it by all means. If you haven't already done so, please head over to Corey's channel at Wilkie's Movies and Music and subscribe. He does live content all the time. He does these little lunch streams with people. Lots of great content, has other people on streams and does panels, and just, as you can tell from the last 2 hours, just an incredible, wonderful, nice guy. So please show him some love. Get over there and subscribe to Wilkie's Movies and Music. And like I said, when you get over there, just tell him that Jim sent you. So, Corey, this has been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Oh, that's
Thank
so much
you
fun.
so much for being here. And
I do it again in a heartbeat.
Definitely have you on again.
Yeah, do it again.
And the last couple of parts of business here is because, again, like I said earlier, I am a whore, so I gotta promote these things.
No, do it.
But this coming Tuesday night on February 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. We will be doing our next episode. We will be covering our guilty pleasure movies, so that should be very interesting.
That'll be fun.
You can watch that live on Sean's channel at Movie Assault or on the Talking Movies 2024 channel. I'll be leaving links in the community posts as always. And the next installment of Shooting the Shit with Jim, episode 5, will be in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, on the 8th of March. However, it will be at a special time. It will be at noon instead of 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And the reason why we are doing that at noon is because my special guest will be Dan, formerly of Dan's Movie Cave. But now you can reach him at Dan at the Talking Movies live stream. He's from the Talking Movies channel and the Westerns for Life podcast with Carlos and Jeff 101 Bronson. And he is coming from the UK, but he asked me if we could do the show an hour earlier, as he has to get up for work very early the next morning. So that's why we are going to do that show from 12 o'clock until 2 on that particular episode. And I will be leaving all that information as well for Dan's information. So by all means, please tune in to those two shows if you can. And if you cannot, you can always catch the replay on my channel of this show, or you can catch the replays of the Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim, either on Sean's channel or on the Talking Movies channel. One last time, I want to thank Corey again for being here.
Thank you.
Like I said, please get over there and get on Corey's channel and show him some love. We're definitely going to have Corey on here again.
Sounds good to me.
We are going to be, like I said, going forward, I'm trying to alternate guests, one from Europe, one from America. So that's why we're doing it this way. But as things go further down the line, I'm actually going to get some of these guests together and do an actual panel chat.
Oh, it'll be fun. Yeah.
Corey, I'm going to get you on one of those that are going to be a little more music orientated. I'm going to get Texas on that one. I got a friend named Ricky, who is an ex-Marine who has a music channel, and that one's going to be fun. We're going to get that one going probably a month or two down the road.
I'll look forward to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that one's going to be lots of fun. So real quickly, I just want to go through the comments again, just make sure we didn't miss anything. Dan, thank you so much for being here.
You.
Daniel as well, thank you, my friend. Greg, as always, thank you, my friend. Texas says, excellent show, and thanks for having Corey, the Dan Rather of the film community.
Oh, Texas always got to throw that out there. Thanks, man.
Sarah, thank you so much for being here. Stacy, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of your comments, but thank you so much for being here. John as well. Barry, absolutely. Booth was a great actor. Love him and everything. Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee and Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Absolutely.
I forgot about Rapid Fire with him.
Chester, thank you, my friend, for being here. And Jim, what was the name of the music group that you played drums in? Actually, I more or less kind of bopped around. I didn't actually have my own band. You could more or less say I was a session drummer without actually doing sessions, just playing with different people. I did play with a band called Holland way back when, but had a little bit of success, but nothing major. I played mainly for fun. So and we'll end with Barry saying Don Johnson is a legend. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you, Barry. Thank you, everybody else who dropped by in the comments and such.
Thank you.
Once again, Corey, thank you, my friend. We'll be talking again soon on your channel. And again, I'm going to have you back on my channel in the future.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody has a great weekend.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks all.
Catch you later.